You guys ever have one of those days where you just think, I should have stayed in bed? That's today. So I came in here, it's a Monday, came in at 6 o'clock this morning, had a few odds and ends, orders to do, pulling some wood for some S4S stuff and custom molding order. Just a couple odds and ends of orders. You know, nothing in and of itself that was huge, but I did a terrible thing. Yesterday I told my wife, I have a few orders, they're easy, it should be no problem, it should be a pretty easy day. Well, you guys know how that goes. You should never say stuff like that because you always shoot yourself in the foot. So what happened? Well, I started running some of this material. It happens to be all poplar, 3 different orders, but it's all poplar stuff. And I started ripping the different products to different sizes here on the straight line rip saw. And just like that, saw stopped. It just went dead, coasted to a stop. And I have no idea why. So I started doing a little digging around here, and yeah, to most of you guys that's probably going to look the same as it looks to me. Way over my head. I mean, I know a little bit here. I checked the fuses, checked the overloads, and checked voltage at a few different points, but it is beyond what I'm going to be able to tackle here. I have a hunch it's something with that transformer there, but it's over my head. So I passed that along to my electrical guys. That's one tip for anybody in this kind of business. You get yourself a good electrical shop to work with, and I have a real good one locally here. They'd never let me down. So pass along some pictures and an email to them, and they're going to get back to me, you know, with what they think, if they have to send somebody out or give me some pointers. But anyway, so I thought, well, okay, let's pivot. We'll just work on something else. There's no shortage of things to work on around here. So I went and sorted a stack of lumber coming out of the kiln, and then I decided, well, I can still work on this. I got 2 of the molding profiles I need to rip before this saw quits, so I can go ahead and get the molder set up and run them at least, you know, get that much done. Well, you guys that have been following the channel know I just bought this MP360 and sold my PH260 Logasol that it replaced. And when I bought it, I was told that all the molding knives transfer over to the new machine. And yes, that is actually true, but I found out it's not true. Genuine Logasol or Wood-Mizer knives do. They'll fit into this cutter head no problem. What won't fit in is all of my custom knives, which are the majority of my knives. Is what I found out. I have just a slightly longer tail on these aftermarket knives than the factory knives. So now I got another decision to make. Do I take every one of these sets of knives as I need to use them and just grind a little bit off the back of the knife? Or, if you can see this, do I take this perfectly brand new, hardly ever been used cutter head and try to grind out this little notch here so I can fit these knives in, and then all of my aftermarket knives will fit? What would you guys do? I am kind of torn on this. I hate to take a grinder or file to a brand new cutter head. On the same hand, I've got a lot of aftermarket knives, and every time I set up here, I'm gonna have to doctor these knives, and that seems like a pain too. Going forward, I'm sure I can talk to my molding knife supplier, and he'll gladly tailor the knives and make sure they fit into these newer style cutter heads, because these cutter heads, although it's the same setup with the 2 holes, they are slightly different than the older style, and that's where the difference comes in. So in theory they work, like they do. I mean, Wood-Mizer is accurate. They do work with the knives they sell, They just are just a touch off from my aftermarket ones. So I don't know. I'm going to think on this here a little bit. I'm going to see, because that's not going to be the easiest thing for me with the tools I have to get in there and remove that. I might take this down to the other shop and see how a grinder fits in there and weigh out my options. And, well, let me think on it a little bit. Somebody's probably out there, has the answer, probably yelling it at their screen right now, but I'm gonna make a decision here. Hopefully it's not a dumb one. I'll bring you back and let you know what I'm up to. Well, I've made a decision. Down here at my other shop, I got the head clamped in a vise. And it's gonna be hard to see on camera. There's a little notch here, not even 1/8 of an inch across, runs across the length of the cutter head. I've determined if I take that notch down, all my knives will fit. It'll have no bearing on how the gibs clamp the knives in there, and it really shouldn't affect much of anything at all. Don't know why these new cutter heads are machined this way. It's just a little bit different. Like I said, it's not a Wood-Mizer problem, it's a me problem, because I get aftermarket knives made. And after thinking about this for a little bit, all of the custom knives I have, you know, for me to take each one of those sets and grind the tails off of them, and then you risk, whenever you grind them, of dropping them or having an accident, or, you know, getting them too hot and losing the temper out of them. I just thought I'll make this modification to these heads and be done with it. So that's a $200 head right there in that vise. It's brand new, only been used one time basically to trial it out, because I have another set of flooring heads I use for my flooring. So I figured out if I take my angle grinder and work it in there, I can do it. So let's give it a shot, see what we can do here. All right, well, this one is totally done. I got both pockets ground out. The knives fit in there. If I can put this in one-handed, but I just had it in there, and it fits nice. There you have it. So that's gonna work. So I'm gonna do the other one right away. Then we'll take it up to the shop. We'll set it up, and you guys might as well see this through with me and see if I made a terrible mistake here or this might actually work. Well guys, keeping with the theme of today, I got back up here into the shop with all 4 pockets on the both cutter heads ground, and thought I was pretty slick, thought I had this all figured out. Well, ran into another problem. And at that point the camera battery died, so I don't have it on camera, but all you really missed was probably me saying a few choice words. The next issue I found was my new, or I shouldn't say new, but my aftermarket knives that I get are a touch thicker than the standard Wood-Mizer or Logosol knife. So then I had to make another decision. I figured, well, I'm into this, so I might as well just keep going down the rabbit hole. And I ended up face grinding a little bit off of the knives to make them fit. And I have them in the head here ready to go. So I had to just very carefully grind a little bit off of here so it would fit between the head and the gib. So that was a bit of a process. I had to go slow, make sure not to heat them up too much, but they're in, it's done. So, you know, I don't know if Mondays, you know, some people say Mondays are bad luck, stuff like that. I don't know if I necessarily believe into that. Seems to me I can break stuff any day of the week here. It doesn't have to be a Monday. There's always issues coming up, but I don't want to be completely negative to you. It's one of those days, you know, nothing seems to go right. This should have been a quick job that was done hours ago, and I'm still working on it. But in the meantime, since, you know, I started this video, the sun's coming out, so, you know, blue sky. So things are looking up. I'm set up to run that. That thing well, that's going to be an issue for another day. That's probably going to be spendy. But the good news is I've learned a long time ago in this business, you have to plan for redundancy and resilience. So the couple boards I have left to run that were supposed to run through that machine, I'll take them down, run them through the edger, and I'll bring them back up here and run them through the molder to clean them up really nice. So I'll be able to get that job done. It'll just take a little bit longer, but I guess the moral of the story is there, just plan ahead, you know, so one hiccup like that doesn't completely leave you dead in the water. So I don't want to make this all negative. I want to leave on a positive here. So we're going to run a piece of molding to finish off, just to prove that we got this done, that, you know, despite all these headaches, we were able to make this work out. And this is actually what I'm producing. I got a little smudged up here with some grease in all this production, but I had done this job for a customer a few years ago. He actually designed this profile. I had the knives made to do it. It's just a simple, kind of a modern type, you know, baseboard casing profile. So now he needs a little bit more of it to finish another section of his project. So that's what I'm going to run. So that's how we'll end this. I'm just going to run a piece of this molding. Despite all the hiccups, we're getting it done, and that's just part of the game here. You know, nothing ever runs smoothly, but you just got to put your head down and come up with a solution and keep going. So let's get this running, and I'll catch you guys next time.